I want to become an actor. I want to become an actor because an actor can have a platform. So,
Mm.
yeah, I want to be famous so that I can help the world. Remember, 15 or so years ago, there was no social media, right? Per se. It wasn't like you could go online and become an influencer or open a page to share great things with the world. And acting at the time was what I foresaw being my avenue to help the world.
If you're not making a positive impact in the world and you are an adult, then you are failing. And I do mean it because we all are responsible for the way this world is being. But today, we are lucky. We actually have with us Jovanna, who is actually doing great things in this world. Jovanna, welcome, my dear.
Oh my gosh, what a beautiful introduction. Thank you. I am not in the hot seat. Okay. I am not failing.
You are not. I really, really appreciate you showing up today and being here. We've had a few wonderful conversations. I'd love for the audience to really understand why you wrote your book and tell them what the book is about,
Oh,
because that's crucial to why you're doing the things you're doing.
thank you, Rima. First of all, I'm so excited to be here to chat with you. And I'm just grateful. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, anybody out there watching, I'm so excited to share my book. It just came out this past year. It's #1 bestseller on Amazon, and it's called Teen Anxiety No More. And this is like become such an important part of my life, such an important part of my reason to be here, right? It's become my mission. I didn't think this was going to be it. I'm an actor in Los Angeles. So I've been in the entertainment world for, gosh, 15-ish years. And I always in like college and high school, I did like big sister volunteering. And I just remember always wanting to draw from that. And I remember being like, um, I want to become an actor. I want to become an actor because an actor can have a platform. So,
Mm.
yeah, I want to be famous so that I can help the world. Remember, 15 or so years ago, there was no social media, right? Per se. It wasn't like you could go online and become an influencer or open a page to share great things with the world. And acting at the time was what I foresaw being my avenue to help the world. Um, it was a very long way around to get to that place because acting in and of itself is just a wacky process. And so,
We'll come
um,
back to that.
surely I got lots to say about
Yeah.
that. But I just remember, about 6 years ago, 7 years ago, I was on a date with my then boyfriend, now husband, and it was early on. And I remember saying, Oscar, my husband's name, not the statue. Oscar, I really want to open a company, share more light with the teens in our world. And we had this conversation. He's like, how are you going to do it? What are you going to do? And da, 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 da. And I was trying, but I didn't, put forth the true energy that it requires at that time. Long and behold, fast forward, um, via my acting, I booked a role with Dhar Mann Studios. And for any of you who don't know, it's a YouTube series of motivational videos, feel good lessons for the world. And at the time, I didn't know, but they kept asking me to come back and come back. Usually, acting roles is like one time, and if you're lucky, you cross paths again. But now I've been in over, I want to say close to 60 videos. So it became this recurring thing, which I'm like so blessed because our audience has gotten really young.
Mm.
And because of that, I started my YouTube channel. And it started with my, my the viewers of of Dhar Mann Studios finding me and my channel and being like, how do you deal with bullying? How did you deal with bullying and cyberbullying and peer pressure? And they were asking me all these amazing questions that I, like so many of us, dealt with and had to overcome. And so they were asking me so frequently, I'm like, here you go. I'm writing a book. Read it. So that's the short answer because I'm trying to like stay here because you could see how I could go and like, so yeah, so that's how it started. I'm just so excited that it's become this. So all those seeds I was planting that I wanted to be a big sister, that I wanted to help change the world, that I wanted to act, it all kind of, oh my gosh, I'm getting goosebumps because you just never know, right? What your route is going to be, and it's leading me here, and it's amazing.
Jovanna, take me back to when you were young and you were bullied and what could have occurred in your mindset. So for the young listeners that will see this, that they understand that there are others and there is definitely more than hope for things to become so much better. So take me back to those years.
Oh gosh, Rima, thank you for that baseline because it was tough. It was really tough. So many of us have dealt with, the making fun of you. I was called everything at the time you could imagine, from fat to ugly to stupid. I was called stupid a lot. I was called four-eyed, brace face. I mean, all those names that so many of us can like relate to in our awkward teen years where we're like, still going through our years of development. I felt all that. And what I really struggled with as well, my main bully, because there were several, the main bully, also he was physical towards me.
Mm.
So it was a physical bullying. So despite him being a boy and me being a girl, he would hit me, and he would hit me hard. And I remember like the little feisty in me, like the feistiness being like, you're not going to get me. So I would laugh in his face. I don't recommend that. I
Mm.
would literally laugh in his face, like, you're not going to get me. And I held a strong face. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to let it, you know, get to me because he was hitting me. And it was like, you could see in his face how things changed when he wanted to hit me. Like you could see the transformation. Like I recall it right now. Like, and he would like fist up, and like I had bruises all over my body. And I never told anybody, even though, like, other kids saw it, right? But I never shared with an adult. And those are the things I share in my book, where I'm like, wait, 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 wait. Had I known this, this is what I would have done differently. I don't want
Mm.
anyone to ever have to endure anything um like so many of us did. And now, kids are. So those are the strategies and the tips and tools I provide in my book, because it is so important to go back and grab the ones that need the help, right? And so that's the reason for everything I'm doing right now. I've gotten through some really difficult times in my life. That was one of them. There have been others. And it's like, I'm in a place now that I can come back for you and help you. And that's what drives me now every day.
Do you remember back then what made you not share or tell an adult? What went through your mind? And again, so that if another young person is watching, they understand these thoughts and hopefully they will understand that there are solutions, as well as a lot of the wonderful tools you share within the book. But for someone listening, what were
Thank you.
their thoughts?
What a great question to go a little deeper, because yes, for anybody who's listening, watching, we don't want you to just walk away and be like, okay, well, now what, right? I will say that the reason I didn't share is because I come from a very strict Dominican background, and at the time, um, the parenting skills were different. And I just remember hearing a lot, not just in my family, but in my culture, that if you cry or if you let someone do something to you, I will hit you so that you really cry. So that it's a really
Mm,
interesting thing that used to happen in our era, I want to say, at least my culture, where it was like they would give us a reason to cry so that we would defend ourselves. So I always thought, like, well, I got to defend myself
mm,
because I don't want to my mom or my dad or my grandma or an adult to spank me because I didn't defend myself. So I'm like, I'm going to defend myself. So it was a very like independent, like, I got this. I'm going to take care of it. Um, in hindsight, that's not what I would have done. I would have certainly told my mom because my mom would have gone to the school and made sure that somebody knew what was going on and took the action steps because my mom now I'm like, oh gosh, mom, if you ever see this, I don't know how much she knows about
mm.
this because over the years I've told her lots of things, but I don't know how deep she knows it was. And I just came out with a little short video on my social, and it was like, bullying made me who I am today because it made me realize that I don't need anybody else's approval, and I don't need anyone else's encouragement to do the things I want to do, that I'm going to do them because I want to do them and I'm going to succeed at them because I am putting forth the time, energy, effort to do so. And that I will succeed despite you calling me fat, ugly, four eyes, whatever it was, I will succeed. And that is a message I want to lead with, that I learned absolutely to share with a trusted adult. And I do give strategies. I even give like a little role play situation in my book so that somebody is equipped to go to a teacher with the words and not just so and so is being a jerk. It's like, okay, how can you elaborate on that so an adult can get on your side and be like, we're going to take care of this for you and everybody else. And that is the position I wish I had then that I now offer in my book for anybody who is going through that. And so it's coming from a place of power,
Mhm.
right? And another thing I talk about is oftentimes you hear that you don't want to be a tattletale, right? Kids who are tattletales
Mm.
get beat up even more. I gotta believe that was in my psyche at the time. I didn't want to be seen as a tattletale on the playground. Well, guess what? I told you how to go about that so that you are a tattletale. Because guess what? You're doing it for the world, right? You're telling it so that it gets better, not so that you get in trouble. And I also, formulate a way so that you can have that conversation with a trusted adult and not feel like a tattletale. I hope that answers your
It
question.
does. I'm so glad you're sharing this. Honestly, I interviewed Rob Nash, who is a musician out of Canada, and his impact started when he began sharing his story on stage to high schoolers and the different places. So I can definitely see where you're making that impact. And if I gave you the opportunity, which you already are in a lot of ways speaking to large audiences, but if I put you in front of a bunch of teenagers, adolescents, what would you tell them today so that it can make a difference for them in the way they treat each other?
What a powerful question. Thank you. Because that's getting at the root of it, right? It's how you treat others. And that's the change we want to see in this world. That's the acceptance we want for everybody. And I think that when we can make the now bullies future kind humans in the works, when we can get those, either kids or adults, um, in alignment with what it is that can make them feel better about themselves so that they don't have to make somebody else feel bad, then I think we've really turned a corner in our existence in this world. And I think what I would tell them is that there's a different way to channel your pain. There's a
Mhm.
different way to go about finding what will make you happy. Because when you're happy, you will never, ever, 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 ever want anyone else to feel unhappiness. And if we can have more happiness in the world, then that's a world I want to live
Me too. That's the world we're living in because you exist, because we're putting out those messages, honestly. I'd like to touch on something that you spoke about. You're from the Dominican. I'm
in.
from Lebanon originally, born there, raised in the States. There is something to the various cultures that makes you, number one, a little more open, a little more understanding, and at the same time, it makes you your unique self. What do you say to kids that are from a variety of cultures that are living in the States or anywhere in the world that they feel like they don't fit in?
Reva, goodness gracious, these questions are
Because they're what's
they're amazing. Thank you for touching on that because it's such a big component. I feel that the world is bigger in the sense that we realize that there are different cultures and countries and understandings and religions and there's a word I'm thinking of, um, experiences. Let's go with that one. When we were growing up, perhaps, I don't know about you, but no one knew where my country was. They're like, where is Dominican Republic? I'm like, it's in the Caribbean. Caribbean? Yes. It's between Puerto Rico and Cuba. Oh, okay. I grew up in a very small town just outside New York City, so it wasn't like, in the middle of, nowhere. It was near a big city, one of the biggest. And they themselves were unaware where Dominican Republic was. So for that reason, because I grew up in a school system that was predominantly white, I looked different. I didn't want to look different because that just opens you up to a whole lot more other stuff that they can say about you, right? So I just wanted to blend. And I wanted to just be as American as I could be, right? I was born in New York. I did move back to Dominican Republic in my younger years for several years. However, born and mostly raised in the New Northeast area. Why I say this is because, well, now you can't go there and not see a Dominican, so everyone knows where. But I just remember being like, I can't be called Jovanna. Jovanna's too different. People aren't gonna know. No, 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 don't call me Jovanna. So I went by my middle name, which is in fact Jill. That
very American.
I could blend. I thought my name could do it. It helped, I'm sure. Um, and why I say all this is because I felt the need to just not stand out, right? I felt the need to just kind of like hope that people would just not realize that I looked a little different from the blonde haired, blue eyed girls, I went to school with. And now I look at myself and I'm like, gone, different. there's a lot more Latinas now, and we expect to see different, faces and eye shapes and skin tones, right? So I think that's how the world has changed a lot because our doors have opened to the world a lot more. Um, so there is that difference and distinction now. However, as younglings, that's what I call everyone on my channel, as younglings, we don't want to be seen for our differences because it's so sometimes difficult, right? To like not understand why your mom is cooking this certain food and putting it in your lunchbox, and you're like, I don't want that. I just want to eat the pizza that they serve in the cafeteria, right? It's like now I look at my food and I'm like, wow, what a richness of flavors that I want and seek and cannot find in Los Angeles. For all those times that I like was upset that this is what I was getting in my lunchbox. So I look at it now and I reframe it, and to anybody now who's dealing with potentially that culture difference, realize that you are here because of that. And when you embrace that, the world can welcome it more. And when it welcomes it more, we can have more acceptance and understanding and appreciation for the differences we all have. And now, I don't know about so many of you watching, you seek different restaurants, you seek different cuisines, you seek different experiences and vacations because you want to explore differences in the world. How cool is it that you're what they're going to go seek? When they go on vacation, when they go to the restaurants, whether you're Chinese, Japanese, Lebanese, Dominican, how many people are going to Punta Cana now that uh, would never have gone 20 years ago? But now it's like a resort town that people like flock to. Yeah, you come to the country and we're going to welcome you and we're going to make you feel good and you're going to have a lot of fun. How cool is that? I'm part of that country. And
You
that's
know,
what I would say, embrace it.
you know what I love about what you said and what brought to my brain is that we attempt to blend so much when we were young that now we completely understand that that is exactly what we're not looking to do. We're looking to be our unique selves. So if the young listeners that are listening, and you can start off by being you and allowing others to do the same, that's how you win. That's how you win in this game of life.
It's so true. If you can overcome that at this age, how much further ahead and along are you going to be than all of us that had to wait until 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever our age is to get to that place? Embrace it now. Be like, this is me. Rock on. Let's do this. And move on to the next thing. Because there's always something ahead, right? And that's the cool thing about life. There's always something to look forward to. So move on to the next lesson. How cool is that? It's like I often describe it as like a video game, right? It's like you just want to get to the next level. Well, this
That's
is
a
how you
good way.
get to the next level.
That's a great way. Take us again from that experience of being bullied and then growing up and the things that you've learned that helped you put into this book, actually.
Wow, that's a huge question. I love it. I love it because it's making me realize and appreciate the journey. And I think that's why, I lead with the road because it's been a journey, right? We've all had this incredible journey of our experiences. And wow, I believe we got to learn every day, right?
Mm.
So every day there's been so many lessons. And that's what my channel is focused around, sharing my lessons, right? So every Friday when I meet with my younglings, I share the
And
lessons
you
of
don't
me.
call them Fridays. What do you call them for them? Wait, you cut off. Say it again. What do you call them?
Fridays.
That's right, Fridays.
Friday. And not because we're happy the week is over.
Mm.
It's because we're celebrating an amazing week we had and bringing that into the weekend. That's a huge distinction for me. It used to be like, thank God it's Friday. Oh my God, I'm done with the week. Oh my God, I'm ready for the weekend. Now it's like, I had an amazing week. Let's celebrate this amazing week we just had. So that is a big, see, those are the little things that you learn along the way that aren't so little in the way you show up in the world, right? So it's those little things. So lessons, everything is a lesson. Every little thing is a lesson. It could be a really good lesson or a not so fun lesson. But that not so fun lesson is teaching you that when you have something really good happen, you appreciate that because you know and remember what it was like when it wasn't so good. So those are the things that when you start stacking them, they start really creating this just amazing, just point of elevation. Right? The biggest thing that we often want to do or see in images is climbing a mountain, right? Because you know that when you get up there, you're gonna see the coolest view. So it's like, yeah, you're just doing all these little things to stack up so you have the best view. So it's everyday lessons. I wish I had an eternity to share as many as I can with our younglings. Because if I can, and not so much shortcut, because everyone's going to go through their process and their journey, and I don't want to shortcut anybody's existence. But if I can shine a light on the ones to focus on so that you can hop and skip and jump to the next one, then that I feel is my purpose now, my reason for being here. It's like I was in a workshop once, and this amazing mentor of so many of us was saying like, why do you have a guide, right? Why do you go to the safari with a guide? Because you want to make sure you're in the jungle with someone who knows where the caves are, knows where the, you can tell I haven't been to a safari yet. I don't know what there is in a safari, but I want a guide, right? I want him to lead me, tell me what to touch, what to eat, what not to eat, right? It's like if I can be that for my younglings, because I've been on this twisty, curvy, amazing road, then it's like, yeah, that's how I want to get back.
What did you learn out of your years and experience being in Miami and being a dancer? What what did that give you? Or did it give you anything?
It did. It gave me so much. I'm laughing because um, it gave me an opportunity to get on stage
Mm.
and to be okay with being seen. Because growing up, I was always so afraid of being looked at because I looked weird to everybody. Then now I'm front and center on a stage, like you got nowhere else to look but up on the stage at a show. So I was a dancer in Miami. I was corporate before that, so I did not grow up being a dancer. I didn't even take a ballet class. I didn't even take a tap class. I didn't take no dancing classes at all as a young little toddler or anything. I did more martial arts because my mom wanted us to defend ourselves. So that's what I thought I was doing in the schoolyard. Um, and then in my 20s, I was like, done with the corporate scene. I pleased my mom. I did what she wanted us to do, which was to have a profession and a career and, work in corporate America. And I did that for several years. And I was like, not for me. And I was in the sexy part of corporate America. I was in advertising because I did love commercials. I still do love commercials. So I was in advertising behind the scenes, getting the audition tapes. And I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to be in front of the camera, not behind it. So I moved to Miami thinking I could start my acting career there, but instead I got into dancing. And I actually got into dancing because my company sent me to a concert at Madison Square Garden and I started dancing. I'm like, I want to do this for a living. And my mom's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, I want to dance. She's like, oh my goodness, you've lost it. But I did, in fact, go to Miami and I danced. Like, I did samba shows all around the country and the Caribbean. I did like TV shows as a dancer. That's how I first started getting into TV. They would hire me for those like specialty acts.
Mm.
I did like casino openings and resort openings in like Cabo San Lucas and Turks and Caicos. So I did it like, and I'd never danced in my life. All to say, I learned that you can do anything despite what other people tell you you need to know before you embark on doing it. Like, I felt like dancing, and I did, and it was amazing. And I had a lot more success dancing than I've had acting, believe it or not. Well, up until, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
it was a lot easier for me to jump into dancing in Miami than acting in Los Angeles, is where I'll keep it.
I'm going to ask a question about something that you said in passing, that you did your career in corporate because
Hmm.
it pleased your mom.
Yeah.
And I think, again, going back to the cultural things,
Yeah.
that's a lot in cultures where we are taught to please our elders, to do things the way that we're told.
Yeah.
What was it like for you to step out from that, even though it might have been displeasing to your mom?
What was it like, you asked?
Yes. What was it like? What did it feel like? Because again, there's lots of wonderful young individuals that are looking to create their path, but they feel that, oh, I can't displease this person or that person.
Yeah, great question. What did it feel like? Scary,
Hmm.
intimidating,
Hmm.
um, anxiety provoking. um, yeah, it felt like, oh my gosh, this is the one person I never want to go up against. I was raised by very strong women. And I was like, oh, I'm really gonna ruffle some feathers here. And I had already kind of done so by going the corporate route because growing up we had two options. It was either a doctor or a lawyer. The fact that I didn't do either one of those two was already going against the grain because I come from a family of doctors and lawyers. um I'm like, no, I'm not a doctor or a lawyer, but I've played both on TV, right? So it's like I was already the black sheep. To go further and quit my corporate job and follow my heart and do something that was so unexpected, right? Um, was really intimidating and scary and just exactly what I needed to do. I needed to go up against that fear because I knew that that was what my heart wanted me to do. I now know this. At the time, I thought I was being a little, not revengeful. What's the other word when you're
Rebellious?
rebellious? Thank you. I thought it was just me being they thought it was me being rebellious. But no, it was my heart, and it's been guiding me all along. So I'm really grateful for it because I listen to it. It gives me more, right? Little nudges. And now I'm like, oh, okay, that's my heart that I want to listen to. Whereas it used to be that I couldn't tell the difference between my heart and my head. And
Mhm.
I'll never forget, I had this conversation with my incredible supervisor at the time. I used to work at MasterCard. Um, I had the best bosses. Like, the people were amazing. It was just such an incredible experience and time to work at MasterCard when I did. Dating myself a little bit, but it was priceless. um, um, and I remember asking him, like, Michael, hi, Michael. Michael, do I follow my head or do I follow my heart? Because everything logical is telling me to stay in this job. It's a great job, great people, great opportunities, great future potential. Or do I jump ship and go dance? Like, he's like, I can't answer that for you. Um, which is the best answer, right? Because I found my answer within and I didn't listen to anybody. And now I think people look at me and they're like, rock on, right? Rock on. And I've heard little mumblings that I gave other people an opportunity
Mm.
to start new different things that they wouldn't have otherwise. So,
What's your relationship like with your mom now?
oh, amazing. Amazing. We went through some hurdles after that. And then again when I moved to LA, she's like, "Why are you moving to LA? You keep moving around the country and the world. Stop moving. Where are you running from? Who are you running from?" I'm like, "I'm not. I'm running towards," right? Um and then for the first, I want to say, I don't know, maybe 8, 9, 10 years that I lived in LA, she's like, "When are you gonna come back? When are you gonna come back? When are you coming back?" And those were challenging years because it was like, "Mom, I'm here. I'm doing this. I want to do this. This is where I'm at." So there was that friction of like, "Come back home. Come on." And then we're four sisters in my family. We celebrated my parents' 50th wedding anniversary by giving them a gift to go to Vegas and then come to LA. Um, and she came to LA and I took her to all the spots. We went to San Diego, like we did the whole like coast thing. Da 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 da. Da. Ask me how many times she's told me like I'll come back to a home. When are you coming back? Ask me. Never, she's never asked me again. So our relationship is amazing. There's no friction. She understands why this decision is right for me. She's seen it. She knows I'm safe. I'm now married. My husband is incredible. He's taking care of me ish, even though we take care of each other. But she knows I'm not alone here anymore the way she was so fearful that I was at the time. So thank you for asking that. Mom, everything's good, right?
I like touching on that because you said so many wonderful things that even though you're on your path and you're doing the things that you love, there's always still things that aren't going to be 100% in anyone's life. But sticking to your own heart, to your own path is the key, and things end up working out. And for you, what would people be surprised to know about you and your personality?
I love this question. It's a great question because no one believes me. But I think that's what is so surprising about it, right? Um, I'm actually an introvert. I'm actually shy. I'm an introvert. Um, and I still have insecurities, right? Human being who doesn't have them. Show me a person who has zero insecurities and let me just bow down and be like, because they're probably, you know, I don't know, a monk somewhere in India, like at a temple. I'm gonna bow down to you because we're all striving for that one day, right? But yeah, I have those too. And what's cool is that I don't let them interfere with what I want and where I'm going. now, right? That was what I had to learn on this long journey. Now I can do that. But that's what's been so worth um the ride. It's been that I can now look back and be like, yep, I don't like XYZ. Now I can't even think of something because it's just so not in like my like peripheral vision the way it used to be like right in front of me. Now I'm like, whatever, whatever. I'm moving on. Who cares? And do I still get a little bit? Yeah, that's why I wrote a book about anxiety. I still get anxious. I still do these things. I'm not a teenager, right? It's like, I don't think you have to get rid of your anxiety. I just think you have to work with it. And when that happens, you have this freedom to do everything else in life with more ease and joy. And that's what I think I want to master in this life. That's what I want to master.
The joy, the positivity, the bubbliness is also you.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is not a fake personality that you put
No,
on because, oh, I'm on a
no,
podcast or I'm on a show. Or
no. If anything, I'm toning it down a little bit because I've been told I will talk really fast. One of the biggest hurdles in my acting journey, I talk fast. I'm from New York. What you see is what you get. Like, I'm gonna, sometimes it rubs people the wrong way because a lot of people are like, why are you so like honest? Like, and I'm not mean spirited, but I do say things that perhaps, other people are like, whoa, okay, I wasn't expecting that to come out of your mouth. And it's not mean spirited, but it is just honest. Like I do have a filter. Again, I'm not mean, but it is just sometimes what people are thinking but don't say or don't know they're thinking. I think the New York Dominican is in there that does that. My mom for sure. Um, but yeah, no, the bubbling. This is me. Like I'm seated. When I do my lives, I'm standing up and I'm like, and I probably rub people the wrong way, and that's okay because not everyone is gonna like everyone, right? And that's why full circle, there's so many differences. You're going to find the people you gravitate towards, go towards them. If you don't like me, don't watch me. It's okay. I want you to be happy watching what you're watching. Go watch something that makes you happy. If I'm not that, there's tea and there's coffee, right? It's like pick your choice. And I've had to learn to be okay with that because so many of us want everyone to like us, and especially in our teens and 20s we want everyone to like gravitate towards us and include us and ask us to be on the team or the group or the you know outing. It's like, okay, I didn't get invited. What am I gonna go do on my own, right? Like, um, so yeah, no, there's both sides of me. So yes, I am introverted, shy, quiet, and this is my personality. Like, happy now, bubbly, and excited for life, which I wasn't always. So I worked hard to get here.
thank you for the honesty, honestly. Thank you for that. How do you feel about the labels? Introvert, extrovert, all of these things that people use and we just use them. What do you feel about those labels?
This question because I remember the first time I was told I was an introvert, I was so upset.
Mhm.
I was like, what? I'm an introvert? How can that be? In my culture, Latins, we're loud. We're supposed, I guess I'm still a little loud, but we're supposed to be like, around a lot of people and family. And we're supposed, and I remember the first time because I did like a quiz and it was at my corporate job many moons ago that we had a specialist come in and we took a test and so we could like a team building exercise so we could better interact with others in the company. And when my result came in as an introvert, I was like, no, I am not an introvert. That's not acceptable. My parents won't be happy that I'm not an introvert. These are the things that go through our brains, right? And I did not want to be labeled as an introvert. I wanted what was deemed the cooler group to be an extrovert. And we had to go around the table, and it was a big table. There was like, I don't know, 100, let's say 100 or 200 of us. It was a team building. It was a fairly big event. And we had to go around, and everybody had to say, "Hi, I'm Jovanna, and I am proud to be fill in the blank," right? And everyone went around, everybody, "I'm proud to be an introvert, extrovert," came to me, and I'm like, "I'm Jovanna, and I'm an introvert." I couldn't even say I'm proud. So just to, because your question really prompted this in me, it's like, I didn't appreciate the label. And now, why I appreciate the label is because it gives me an understanding that when I'm out in big events, when I'm out with a lot of people, when I'm out at Costco, I need to take a step back, regroup, just take a moment to, get rid of some of that external additional stimuli. And yeah, that is being an introvert. Yeah, I do value staying home and reading and being alone on a Friday, Saturday night. I don't care that y'all are going out. I want to be home tonight. I cannot, spread more of my energy. I want to conserve and enjoy my energy. I'm proud to be an introvert. So that's been a journey for me too. So I'm okay with those kinds of labels. Um And I think it's just our society trying to understand where we fit in. And I think if we don't know that there's a spectrum of colors, then we don't know what color crayon to pull out to draw with, right? So I think it's just an attempt to like formulate language. So I try not to get too hung up with labels and just accept that it's an easy way for the brain to understand where to put you. So that's where I prefer to spend my energy versus like I'm being labeled as a little Latina, you know, introverted Dominican wannabe actor. I can't deal with that many labels. I'm Giovanni. Okay, that's my label.
This is everything I have to offer. Tell me about your acting career and how that has impacted you, and especially with what you're doing today. What have you learned from your acting?
Oh, wow. What an amazing question I get to answer, right? So many people think they want to be actors. Our society displays that as like a cool choice of profession, right? When you see household names and celebrities on a red carpet or an award show or in a magazine, whatever, our eyes are drawn to it. And as a society, we really kind of elevate their status. So I think, and I get a lot of people who say like, I wish I was an actor, I always wanted to be an actor. And I'm like, there's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes that is not just the glitz and glamour and fun that you see on the red carpets. I have so much respect for all those household names and faces who've achieved what they've achieved, right? Like that was always my long game, like what I wanted for myself. And I admire their tenacity and their perseverance and their commitment and everything that they had to endure to get to that place. It's admirable. I, though not a household name, um, learned those things as well. Because not every actor is gonna be a household name. But man, it's a rite of passage that if you can be in this city, in Los Angeles specifically, for now 14 years, man, That says a lot because I used to work in acting studios. I've been to dozens of acting studios as a student. Um, Over the years, I've seen, heard, witnessed the struggles, the transientness of the profession and the city, where it's like, people come and go, people come and go. They go back home, they go back somewhere else, whatever it is, for whatever reason. LA is a beast of a city. Um, and I've lived in and I've set up shop in many cities. I lived in London, Miami, like I lived in New Orleans. Like I've moved around a lot. And LA, being from New York, so it's not like I come from, a place where like, I'm foreign to big city life or living, or I still struggle every day. I woke up not knowing if it was going to be my last day in this city. Finances, rejection, realities of what it takes to be in this industry, auditions, no auditions, work, no work, right? Every day I was like, is this gonna be my last day? Is this gonna be my last day? I slept in my car the first month I lived here. So I learned so many things, and I'm still here and I'm still doing it and I'm still learning, which is what I love. So I'm just grateful I'm still here. I'm so grateful. I would have never, and I was talking about this with my husband yesterday. Had I left so many times that I really thought I was going to have to leave, and my mom was already like, come back, come back, come back. And I was like, what am I doing here? I have zero anything going for me. I have nothing holding me here. What, why, where, what? Had I not stayed, I wouldn't have gotten my Oscar. And my husband to me is just a cherry on top. So it's taught me so much, so many times that I wanted to give up, because I did. It's taught me resiliency and go, go, go. Even when you're tired, that doesn't mean you effort. That means you stay in it. Go means stay sometimes. Because when you can't get up and go, just holding still is enough. You gotta you gotta realize what that is for you when it's happening. And all the days I couldn't get out of bed, I still stuck it out. And I'm still here. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful and happy.
You reminded me of a story that I heard of an athlete that was going to quit. And her mom said to her, you can quit, but not on a bad day. You have to quit on a good day. Because she understood that you're not going to quit when things are going well. And that's what you need, is to keep going on the rough times so you can get to the good times. So you reminded me of that as you said it, and winning the Oscar and all of it.
I love that. I love that because it's true, right? When it's good, you don't want to quit. And I say this often in my book, you got to go through it to get to it, right? You have to go through whatever is being put in your past to get to where it is that you want to go. Even when sometimes that want is blurry and you're like, what is it that I want? I can't really see. You got to get through it. And sometimes, we know we got to stop and rest to get more energy and drive and motivation and inspiration to keep going forward. So that's what I mean by go. Sometimes the going is just taking a breath.
Jovanna, why do you continue to choose acting? What does that platform mean to you?
I love it so much. I love being able to share a story that somebody else can see themselves in.
Mm.
And that's the only reason I've kept going. Because I know that if I'm in these shoes, these character shoes, that somebody can hopefully benefit from seeing themselves, seeing someone they love, seeing a way that they can help themselves or someone they love. And that's why I do the projects that I do, and I'm doing the things that I do in my acting. And that's what I always wanted to do. Because when you first come to the city, it's really easy to fall into the thought that you have to accept everything that's offered to you
Mm,
because you don't want to say no because then people will stop asking. And because I had my years in corporate in Miami and in LA, I didn't buy into that. I was like, no, I'm not going to say yes to everything because I don't want to do everything. You are not going to see me in this, and this kind of role. And I set those parameters very straight on. And guess what? When I first came here, those were the exact roles I was being offered.
mm.
You look like you could that. Nope, I'm not accepting that role. Thank you. But I'm not accepting that role. Thank you. It's not in alignment with who I want to see myself as or somebody else to see me as on TV or film. That is not the model I want to present. And at the time, I didn't have this leading my path, but I inherently knew that I wanted it to be something that someone can strive to be a better something from. And so that's guided me. And I'm so happy that I didn't, go against that for myself. And that has been very important. So that is why I love to act. That's why I'm still acting. That's why I hope to always act because it fills this side of me that I don't know where else to get. I'm not like a like a like a talented person like who can draw or like I'm not that kind of an artist like who can I don't have those skills and talents. I never nurtured them, and that wasn't my path. That's We're so grateful to artists who do have the capacity and ability and desire to put it out into the world if that's you. um but acting is that for me, and it's that release of like, ah, I can do something for someone else.
Thank you for that incredible share. And I hope a lot of the young individuals that are starting in this industry catch that point that you can actually say no and you will still be fine in this industry. I have a couple more questions for you, but before we get to them, where can people get your book?
Thank you. Teen anxiety, no more. If you put in my name, Jovanna Vidal, my recent film will be up there as well. That is also, and pardon me, my nose got a little runny. um, that is also under my name on Amazon, and the film is called That in Salsa, and I'm very proud of that because it touches on a real reality that teens are encountering right now with depression and suicide and peer pressure. So it's really interesting how they're both synergistic in a way that I would have never anticipated. I auditioned for that role in 2018. The pandemic, we shot through whatever, and it just came out in 22. I had no foresight about this in 18, 19, 20, or 21, or half of 22. So it's really amazing how they both came out at the same time. And so, yeah, Amazon. And then you can always find me on YouTube as well if you want to follow along the journey. And you get more of this if we can handle it.
Thank you for sharing how they can follow you and how they can get the book. What are parents' reactions to this book?
It's been amazing. It's been amazing because I have mad respects. Let me say that again. I have mad respect for parents, right? I am not a parent. And people are like, "Well, you're not a parent? Like, why'd you write it to teens? You're not a parent to a teen." I'm like, no, I'm not a parent. I am not a trained psychologist, but I am a big sister. And sometimes you'll tell your big sister things that don't yet feel comfortable sharing with your parents. And I want to be that voice that can help bridge those two things and share with you, as my youngling, perhaps your parents' perspective so that you have an understanding that it's not being done to you, as the very incredible, amazing Tony Robbins says, it's being done for you. Your parents are doing it for you. And because there's a little bit of friction, something or another, maybe there's this way to look at it, or maybe there's that way. Maybe you can broach it this way. And just giving those conversations for perhaps so many parents who, may have kind of, during these teen years, kind of fallen out of those, conversations that seemingly come easier when they're younger, right? So I've gotten a lot of messages, emails from parents who did this together with
Mm,
their teen. Because I go to places in here that it's really cool to have a parent alongside on the same page, pun intended. Um, because when we can have conversations, when we can not be afraid to have those conversations like I did, then it opens things up. And when you open things up, you have an opportunity to learn and grow from it. And if you can do it together, wow, watch out, parents and younglings, watch out. And I love that. I love that parents have given me their blessing, right? In that I can speak to their younglings and them not feel, because I had a couple mothers say to me, they're like, well, we didn't know about that chapter. That's not something I would want a stranger talking to my kid about. And then I read the chapter with my daughter, and I was so grateful because what came out of that conversation strengthened not just our bond, but her voice. For not when, if it happens, but when it happens. And that's powerful. That's powerful. And I'm really grateful for that.
it's powerful because you're right. Conversations open up the channels for both sides to begin to communicate better, to understand, because nobody knows what is going to come up. However, the more conversations parents can have and hear their kids, and for that kid to understand that the parent is for them, that's the only reason that they're stepping up, is very crucial for them to really see that. The one last thing that I'd like to ask is, what are some of the topics you do touch in that book? And I take that back. There will be one more question after that.
Okay. I can talk. I have no
I
problem talking.
know you and I
I
can
have no
definitely
problem. I
chat.
can talk to you all day, all weekend. It's a Friday. Happy Friday. I could talk. I have no problem. I mean, you ask such incredible questions. How could I not want to? Oh my gosh, they're just mind-blowingly amazing. So thank you, Rima, for
Thanks, Jovanna.
giving me this opportunity to just share so many different aspects of me, but really at the end of the day, it's, just really cool. So thank you for making me go to these places. I'm really grateful that you invited me on here today. And yeah, I'm excited. So to answer your question, because sometimes I don't, I start going down a different path. I try to bring it back. The topics I talk about in this book specifically, I can show you the table of contents, really. I already talked about the bullying, the fear and anxiety, of course, jealousy and
Mm.
comparison, peer pressure, the trolls online. I'm telling you, you do
Mm.
not need to be a teen to deal with trolls. Depression, how to turn the corner, seeing the light and what that does, and how you can use the light to guide you to find what it is you're looking for. I give tools on how to nurture those things you find and do more of. Um, I had to do this. I had to do this. I didn't want to. I really did not want to do this. The book was already written and it was already almost, I want to say like 80 to 90% edited. And I had to do this literally at the nth hour, um, because there was another school shooting. And I was like, I have to write a chapter about what's happening in our schools today. So I went there, and it was so difficult for me to want to touch on something so difficult. Like, how do we find a solve for something like this, right? But we have to find a solve, because when you and I went to school, we never, ever, ever had that be a thought in our mind. The fact that guns are the number one killing agents amongst kids and teens in our country, in the United States of America, not acceptable. Not acceptable. And when that happened on that day, I went back to my editor and I was like, hold up, wait a minute. This has to go in there. And she's like, what? I'm like, I know, I don't know, but my heart is telling me to do it, so I have to listen. So I went back and I wrote that very difficult chapter. Very difficult chapter. But if we don't have the conversations, nothing is going to change. And this has to change, because our kids cannot go to school and be afraid for their lives. There's one thing about the bullying making fun of you for being fat or ugly or whatever. It's another thing where you have a shooting drill, so you could prepare in case there's a shooting at your school. Fire drill, I get it. A shooting drill, I will never get it. And the fact that it's necessary, not acceptable. So yeah, I went back and I wrote that very difficult chapter, and I'm not saying I have the answers, but we gotta find an answer. And if we can have the conversation, then maybe an answer will unfold. And then from there, I went to a very light, not so light in the book. It's titled, Ooh, I Like Him, Her, Them. And, as a teen, when you're going through those hormones and you like someone, and it's like, I come at it from a very different perspective. And this was the chapter that the mom was like, I don't know if I want somebody else telling my kid about. And she said that when she read the chapter, she was grateful because I broach it from a stance of like, okay, my youngling guys, okay, my youngling girls, you do not, and fill in the blank. You do not do something you don't want to do. You do not do, and I just go through a list of things where it's like, and be okay saying no. So thank you, Rima, for asking that other question about what roles I was, because it all plays into listen. If it doesn't feel right, you don't do it. You know when it doesn't feel right. And I just go through this whole process of guiding them how to know when it feels right and when it doesn't, and how to make a decision and be okay with the decision, even if they're being pressured to do otherwise. So those are the things that I really felt in my heart to want to put out.
Thank you. And I say thank you a lot because I mean it. Gratitude is so important because you put out topics that are so relevant to how we are going to make this world a better place, especially through our education system. Although it's wonderful to teach kids science and languages and all kinds of stuff, but how about the things that make us better human beings? Conversations, open up the topics that are really impacting us. And that's why I asked you to say what is in this book, because it is very important that we do have those conversations as adults and with the young ones. They're very intelligent. The young ones are very intelligent and they're looking to understand. But we're the ones, like I said at the beginning, if we're not making an impact, you're failing. We're failing. So it is important that we make an impact.
It is
Thanks,
my
Maurice.
dream. Thank you. It is my dream because you just said something so important. Because, yes, science, biology, chemistry, yes, yes, yes. I'm not saying no, right? But I wish I knew what I know now that I'm offering in here. And I wish my dream in my lifetime, if I get to see it, if not, it's okay if it happens after, that this becomes required reading, that it's in the guidance counselor's office, that it's in the libraries in our schools, that teachers will be like, you know what? I don't have to do the heavy lifting with 30, 40 kids in my room. Let's have them read this and talk about it so that maybe the bully will think twice before he bullies someone. So that maybe if a kid is feeling depressed or really sad, he knows or she knows or they know that there's outlets and resources and people who care and will do anything in their power. And when you talk to parents, everything that's not even in their power, parents will give to make it better. When we can do this together, it lightens the load on everybody.
Thank you. Again, I'm going to keep saying thank you because for people to understand, it's not only a book, it's a life book. It's a way of impacting the way that we're living and the way that we're seeing the world and the way that we're making an impact. So thank you for taking the time and the energy to create this. And obviously you can tell even you're emotional now and you're not going through this. So imagine the families that we can make a difference, that we can make a difference.
It's so true.
Take a deep breath. I have one more question for you.
I've never done jazz hands. Was that jazz hands? I don't even know what
No,
jazz
I say
hands
jazz
are.
hands are great.
I felt like a jazz hands to me. I never took jazz. I don't know what they are.
I don't either. Okay. You are an actor. You have a wonderful platform. You have your own channel of social media with your Fridays for the younglings and all the wonderful things. Now you're standing on a stage in front of this entire world, speaking to every human being. What would you like to say to them?
What a cool visual you just opened up for me. My goodness gracious. Wow. That just like put me on a stage in front of the world. And man, does that feel, like the wish and dream that so many of us have as little kids who want to change the world. And I want to say, honor that. Get on your stage and change the world. Find your way, whatever way that is. You can build something, you can create something, you can give something, you can share something. But if every single one of you get on that stage and talk about the tide rising, do you know the saying?
Yes.
I don't.
All boats rise.
Yes, that one. All boats rise. If we're all on that stage, and for your own way and reason, it doesn't have to be my way, your way, the other person's way. We're not going to be Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos but man, we can all be on that stage doing it our way. And that's what I would say. And if you have to go through 5 careers, 10 cities, get there. And you'll look back on the miles you drove from Miami to California and back around, and the plane you took from Lebanon to Dominican Republic to go to Punta Cana. Like, you'll look back on all those things and be like, that was a fun journey. Were there scary moments? Heck yeah. But when you look back and you see what you've overcome, those scary moments just build you stronger. So that's what I would say. Get on
Well
the stage
said.
with me. Get on the stage with me. Let's all get on the stage.
Well said. Jovanna, thank you for being with us today. And for our listeners, please remember, our attitude determines our altitude in life. For you to make an impact, like Jovanna said, get on the stage of your own life. Thank you. We'll catch you in the next episode.